Okay, I'm going to start with Phil 210.1. This is the asynchronous version of the course. We've already started. As you know, the landing page is the page with the large graphic in the center, followed by our course description. And for the asynchronous version, there's a navigation overview video, our land acknowledgement, our major tasks and key assignments, introduction to AI, which I hope you have watched, and then some general fact-checking resources. That's in the center. Now off to the right, we see announcements. I don't have a new announcement right there, but in a moment, you're going to have this video as a new announcement. Student resources and various other campus resources. Back over to the left, we've got the navigational panel, as I call it. The syllabus for this course has stayed basically the same. Meet Me, the instructor, has information available under there, which needs to be updated. Note to self. We have our term paper instructions. This is information about the term paper. If you haven't taken a look, I would think that might be a good idea, and you can feel free to ask me any questions you might have about it. You have the instructions for the term paper, the example of a passing term paper, the term paper template, an example of a failing term paper. Also have some other informational videos. We have an overview about the term paper. We have how to draft a term paper. We have a tiny bit of information about what methodology is, online resources, Boolean search terms, and an example again. This is a video overview of that nicely written paper versus a failing term paper. Also some links to online library resources. Let's go to week 1, which you've just finished up. And ideally, you've written me a letter, which I will be looking at soon. That's not due until the 2nd of February uh, for spring 2025. Ideally, you've also watched this 10-minute video about philosophy. You've looked at deepfake technology, and you've looked at this little bit of written information here about living in the post-truth era. Over here, in addition to the forums, we have our to-do list. Read under handouts, chapter 14, video recordings, PBS 10-minute video, which is off to the left of this, and above. We've got the writing a letter to me from forums, always answering the forum post with at least one other student, with this week being a notable exception. So let's actually fix that right now. Make sure that that's clear. Um, right. So again, uh, with this week being a notable exception. All other weeks, please respond to at least one learner. Thanks. Okay, so just to be clear about that, this week you do not have to do that, but in future weeks you do. All right. And why is that? Because those letters are private. So no, you don't have to do that. Okay, so we've got, please note the fact-checking sites and landing page that they are there as a general resource. And I look forward to working together asynchronously. I've put the navigational video here yet again. This is handouts, and this is where you find that chapter 14 and the basic vocabulary. Okay. And then in week 2, you'll find that we've got quite a few of you already answering the forms. You do need to answer the form of a co-learner to get full credit. Let's see what we've got. We've got our handouts, chapter 1 handout. Okay. And so we've got the videos for everyone to watch. And so again, you'll note, watch the supplemental videos, read chapter 1 of Think with Socrates, unavailable under handouts, read the unit content about Hannah Arendt's concept of the banality of evil, complete the forum and assignments, and please remember to respond to one or more of your colleagues to obtain credit. So there's also here, note the SIFT approach to understanding whether something is authoritative or not. Stop, investigate the authority of the ascribed source, find better and or additional coverage, and trace those claims or targeted agenda for the original and related source. Also, please note that the utilization of reputable fact check sites can be used in this process. And I've again listed the fact check sites. Here's our handouts with chapter 1 from the book that we no longer use. Now, if you miss this from the landing page, here's another chance to watch that video. And there's the information from Hannah Arendt's work. We have 2 basic videos, Who was Socrates, and then a little bit of information about Plato, Socrates' student, and Aristotle, Plato's student. Okay, so this is what we see for the asynchronous course. Now, why am I making the synchronous groups watch this? Well, it is sort of optional. I am actually making this option available so that as a larger community of Phil 210 students, you're able to talk to each other about ideas. Now, the classes and the organization of the information is somewhat differs. So I believe that the synchronous courses, well, we don't talk about Hannah Arendt's ideas until a little bit later. So the asynchronous students are a little ahead of the curve under that. But this is just to let you know that I am paying attention. I'm really pleased with the work I'm seeing so far in Phil 210, and I will be responding to some of that work in the Phil 210.1 very soon. Now let's move on in Phil 210.1. You're welcome to follow along if you would like. Let's move on to our synchronous campus-based group, Phil 210.0. Now for you and for Phil 210.2, which is a synchronous online, I have actually updated the thesis seminars. Again, that's something that asynchronous class doesn't have to do. But we have seminars in our synchronous courses, and we've got Introduction to AI and Media and Ethics. We did a little bit of that last week. And then we're going to be coming up to Seminar 2, AI and Writing and Storytelling. We're going to be doing that next week. We're also going to return to look at Deep Fakes Part 2. Okay, and you can at your leisure look through our new listing of weekly focus. We'll be going through that in detail during class in both of our classes. And then we also have under our term paper instructions the same information that you've seen in the asynchronous. We just finished week 1, so ideally you've also written your letters to me. We've got fact checking, we've got the videos. At this point, the same videos as for the other course. We've got reading chapter 14, basic vocabulary. In our course, we're also going to be returning during week 2 to look at the myth of multitasking and that exercise. On Tuesday and Thursday, we looked at the fires and the deep fakes about the fires in LA. And by next week, within the next 2 weeks, ideally, you will have looked at chapter 14. We also have a little bit of the basics of IRB to return to, and we discussed the 3 different basic types of AI. We looked at the narrow AI intelligence. We looked at general intelligence and the hypothetical superintelligence. Excuse me. A little bit of a coughing fit in the afternoon. All right. We have week 2. And in week 2, we have similar things as to what we saw in the asynchronous, except that instead of Hannah Arendt, we look at attachment theory in the asynchronous courses. We are also looking at deep fakes again, slightly different, has to do with vocal deep fakes and visual deep fakes. We have the forum. The forum will be right here for you, and it has to do this week. There are 2 of them. Please answer these questions, but then our storytelling and AI thesis development exercise, you'll be posting your AI conversations there. And then we also have back to these questions for your journal. So a value you used to have, but no longer do, and a belief you used to have, remembering that values may be viewed as beliefs, but not all beliefs are values. Values are beliefs that deal with social mores and what it means, for example, to be a good person to you. Yeah, your social mores and values. Everyone needs to respond to at least one co-learner again. All right, I'm going to come over here to the seminar information. Again, you don't have seminars, asynchronous group, but in our synchronous groups, Phil to 10.0 and Phil to 10.2, we do. And Tuesdays, in-class journal topic, Google Maps and AI. And then we also have on Thursday that drafting our thesis exercise. All right. In the readings, we have read chapter 1. I'm not doing this exercise, so you can't see it or shouldn't be able to see it, but definitely read chapter 1. All right. That is it for the week 1 into week 2 update. Tune in again next week, next Monday. I will be posting in the late afternoon, early evening, a similar update. Thank you so much for your time and attention. See you next time.